This video is about how to have hope when you're feeling hopeless. There are 5 things that you must remember to restore your hope, especially when you lack motivation, you feel upset, or you're feeling down. Stay tuned. Welcome to the SCG Show, the home of education entertainment. And if you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to hit that like button, please subscribe, and also please hit the notification bell so you do not miss any of these videos. First off, what exactly is hope? By definition, hope is a feeling of expectation and desire for a particular thing to happen. And in contrast, what is hopeless? Hopelessness is the feeling or causing of despair. It's amazing how just one word, aka the word hope, can be so easily changed or easily manipulated to have the complete opposite definition and meaning, aka hope is a very positive word and hopeless is a very negative word. I want to assure you, if you're watching this video right now, that the feeling of hopelessness is an extremely common one, unfortunately. And all of us experience it from time to time. Nobody's exempt from it. Even if people on social media look like they're very happy and like, oh, they're indestructible, they feel hopeless too. You could be hopeless about the following things. Your job. You're not going anywhere. Like, you feel like you're about to be fired. Your career in general. Why did you get into engineering? Why did you decide to do law? Why did you decide to become a plumber, for example? Your finances. I just can't get on top of my finances. I'm losing money. I'm heavily in debt. Or I just can't earn more than what I'm earning right now. I've hit a wall. Your relationships. We've tried counseling. We've tried this. I think they might be a narcissist. Maybe I'm a narcissist. Or I don't have any relationships. How can I do it? The lack of relationships. It could be your health. I've tried every diet. I've tried every fitness program. And look at me. I'm still overweight or I'm underweight. Your loved one's health. They're just not getting any better. I'm praying. I'm doing every ritual I possibly can. And they're just getting worse and worse. Your security. You might feel like you're not safe in the area you live in. Crime has gone up. There's riots. There's this. There's that. And your future. Where the hell am I going? What am I doing? What's going on? Look, these really are the tip of the iceberg. And I do sympathize with how you're feeling right now. AKA, if you're feeling completely hopeless, you're on the verge of rock bottom, or, God forbid, you are beyond that. But why do we fall? So we can learn to pick ourselves up again. As my grandfather used to say, you can only fall onto the ground. There's nothing lower. Yes, you might surpass that. Oh, trust me, you have no idea how low I've been. Well, once you go low, the only way is up. Why do we fall? To learn to pick ourselves up again. The following people have turned their lives around despite a feeling of hopelessness. Robert Downey Jr., aka Iron Man. He was an alcoholic. He got arrested, yet turned his life around. Is now one of the biggest stars on the planet. Russell Brand was a drug and sex addict, yet has gone on to become completely clean and sober for many years now, and now in a happy relationship. He's married with a child. And if you put political opinion aside, Donald Trump defied the odds. He was bankrupt twice, and he's now the president of the United States, even though everybody said that would never happen. I know it's not the same, but it just goes to show you that nothing's impossible. We have all felt hopeless, and we've all come close to giving up. We've all been there. However, you do not need to, and the feeling of hopelessness, I assure you, is only temporary, and I promise you that it will pass. So here are the 5 things you must remember to have hope when you feel hopeless. Number 1, stop being harsh on yourself. Remember, you're so close to success and happiness. It's just about sticking with it to turn your life around for the better. The worst critic of them all is not your family, however, not your spouse, not your friends, not your co-workers, your boss, but you and you alone. If people wrote down or repeated out loud all of the self-criticism they say to themselves, it'd be enough to make anybody break down and cry. And I mean anybody. When I used to make mistakes when I was younger, I used to tell myself the following: you idiot, you fool, how did you mess that up? You're such a screw up. Oh, I'm so stupid. But as an older and far more wise and maturer man than I was, I look back at that and think that I was just being way too harsh on myself, especially at a young age as well. Regardless of your situation right now, at this very moment, ask yourself that very question. Am I being too harsh on myself? I know every scenario is so different to another, and I understand that it may be a personal hell you currently find yourself in. But I'm trying to reassure you here, my friend, you are only human. You are meant to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. You are truly not owed anything from friends, family, your spouse, life in general. You've actually already been blessed without realizing it. It does not matter how badly you think you are due something or owed something either. And whilst negative, very true, life is suffering. It is hard. It is difficult. It is disappointing. It's cruel. And it's dreadfully unfair. So why don't you be a better person? Get yourself together. Become tougher. Take those losses on the chin. As Stallone said, it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Be the person who is relied upon in a crisis, not the person who crumbles and falls at the first sight of adversity, aka choose to swim, not to sink. One thing about hugely successful people in life and throughout history, especially those who are self-made, is that they learned to keep going when all hope was lost, but they would never be harsh on themselves. They realized from a young age, life is a marathon and not a sprint. So they would not be upset or derailed by the odd disappointment, setback or failure they would encounter, or bad news. They are awfully familiar with the trials and tribulations of life because they've done so much and experienced so much of it that it's almost become second nature to them. It's like the people who are fearless, they don't even think about it, like adrenaline junkies, for example. They're used to it and they realize that negative self-talk is only going to hold them back even further to their pursuit of greatness and their goals. Therefore, the next time you are being harsh on yourself, stop and realize that you are doing your very best in a very difficult time and nobody is perfect. Turn down the volume of your negative inner voice and create a nurturing inner voice to take its place. When you make a mistake, forgive yourself, learn from it, and move on instead of obsessing about it. Equally important, don't allow anyone else to dwell on your mistakes or shortcomings or to expect utter perfection from you all the time. Number 2, tough times do not last. Whilst this may come across very cliche and a bit cheesy, the following quote really does ring true and it can be applied to your life right now. Tough times do not last, but tough people do. Remember this quote too. So far, you, my friend, have survived 100% of the worst days of your life. So pat yourself on the back. Great job. Sadly, I went through an incredibly bleak and dark period of my life not so long ago as me actually doing this video for you. In fact, when I rest my head on the pillow at night and collect my thoughts, I often look back in sheer horror of what I experienced. It's a mild case of PTSD. I swear to you, I could not see a light at the end of the tunnel when this was happening. Every day just felt like the same, and it was dark, it was extremely bleak, it was depressing and miserable. I had hardly any hope, and I indeed felt maybe how you're feeling right now, utterly hopeless. And I remember talking to a very dear friend of mine about everything that was going on, and they said, listen, better days will come. Tough times do not last. This is what kept me going through that period. That regardless of where I was at that very moment, or how bleak it was, or how there was no light at the end of the tunnel, and hopeless I felt, that I would come out of it the other side? And the answer was, I eventually did. And you can too. Now, there was a lot of pain, a lot of crying, disappointment, and heartache along the way. However, my friend was absolutely right. Better days will come. I am now creating this video with a smile on my face and a tear in my eye as well, actually, getting a bit emotional because they were right. So regardless of your hopelessness, regardless of your situations, I'm here to assure you better days will come. If there's a storm, the sun will shine again. You will laugh again. You will smile again, genuinely. You will feel love again. You will feel victorious, triumphant again. You will be healthier. I assure you, you'll be happier than what you're feeling right now. Try to see the tough times or difficult periods as almost like seasons of your life, Winter never lasts all year round, but sadly, neither does summer. However, some people love winter, some people don't like summer, but they're only temporary, aka seasons come, seasons go, as do tough and difficult times. Increase your patience and resilience and firmly get into your mind that your scenario is only temporary and you will get through this. Number 3, review all your goals. If you're currently feeling hopeless about your career, your job, your business, a diet plan, weight loss, it's time to sit down and review all your goals. Often when we begin pursuing a goal, after a period of time, it can get usually quite difficult to actually remember why you started this pursuit, why you wanted this goal in the first place. So what are your goals? Is it your goal to start a business? Is it your goal to lose weight? Is it your goal to put on muscle? Is it your goal to travel more? Is it your goal to change career? Is it your goal to earn more money? Is it your goal to just become completely financially independent? I want you to review all your goals, especially when you feel hopeless and regardless of what has happened to you or what is about to happen to you. Then once you review them, I want you to remind yourself what the reason or the motivation was behind those goals initially. Whenever you pursue a goal, there is a motivation initially. Is your motivation to make more money so you can pay off your debt? Is your motivation to make more money to buy a bigger house? Or is your motivation because you need to lose weight because you're not attracting anybody into your life, or you just want to feel better about your body? By doing this, you will remember and remind yourself why you got started in the first place and allow yourself to make the necessary changes to improve on your situation, aka restore hope when you're hopeless. For example, I'll give you a personal situation. Why did I start SCG Show on YouTube and the blog? To provide value and to make a business out of coaching, a YouTube channel, ad revenue, etc., etc. But when I was hardly growing, getting any traffic, and things looked extremely bleak, I reviewed the goals and my original motivation. The goal was to set up my own new online business, and my motivation was that I enjoyed writing and creating content and helping people all around the world with ideas that I knew about. And if I was in the same situation, I would like to look for content that I've created to help me when I feel hopeless, etc., etc. So when I was getting no viewers, no subscribers or clients, that is what truly kept me going. Luckily, it only cost me my time, energy, and nothing much more. I just went all in on it. I used to smile in those hopeless times, realizing that regardless what happens, I'm on the right path. And if it didn't work out, God forbid, I would try something similar, but a little bit different and improve on my mistakes. Losing hope is easy, but losing your goal is detrimental. If you want to have a business but your current one fails, it does not mean you have to give up that dream of ever owning a successful business. It just means that that particular business did not work out for you, but perhaps your next one will. Review your goals and remind yourself why you started them in the first place. Number 4, remember your successes, aka remember your victories. There are often moments when we forget what we've accomplished in our lives and can therefore make us feel utterly hopeless. When we're dumped by our spouse, when we're rejected in any shape or form, when we're just fired for no reason, when our business closes, when we lose, when we're defeated. But regardless of all of that, why do we dwell on the misery and defeat and never stop to pat ourselves on the back for the victories? For example, for the courage you took to give things a go, for the ability to take the risk when most people couldn't, for the strength to keep going when most people give up at the first hurdle. That is what I'm trying to emphasize to you. You need to start taking serious pride in who you are as a person and write down all your victories, big, small, minor, it doesn't matter. Now, I'm not trying to be a bragger here, but here is a list of things I've done that people told me I couldn't do, that I remind myself when I feel hopeless. Start a business. I was told I'd never be a businessman. Invest wisely. Oh, you're terrible with money. Lose weight. You'll always be fat. Build muscle. You're too much of a weakling to lift weights. Have a relationship. No girl is ever going to want you. Date attractive women. Forget attractive women. No women will ever want to date you. Have successful friends. Why would a doctor, an investment banker, a multimillionaire want to be friends with you? Own a sports car. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to happen because you're only ever going to hit a certain plateau, so why would you own a sports car? Dress fashionably. You can't afford the good brands. You don't know how to dress. Write a book. You can't even talk. How are you going to write a book? Start a blog. Who's going to visit your website? Start a YouTube channel. Nobody's going to watch these videos. And by the way, these are different people that I've met in my life, and I swear to you, they've told me all of what I've just said. So please do not interpret this incorrectly as me showing off to you. I'm not listing these to brag, I swear, but instead to tell you to write down your victories too and be proud of what you've done. And when you go on to pursue something different, you can look back on them and say, oh, well, if I was able to do this when most idiots and naysayers and negative people told me I couldn't, just think about what else I can achieve. Especially do this when you feel utterly hopeless. I assure you, this will inspire you and remind you of how utterly amazing you are and what you are truly capable of. Finally, number 5, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Some of the greatest tacticians in sports that I love, such as soccer, are the ones who have alternative plans regardless of their opposition. They're always preparing their tactics, as it's called. For example, amazing coaches in soccer make several plans for almost every single scenario they come up against, such as changing formations, substituting players, and individual tactics. You mark him, you do this, you do that. Why do people not do this for their lives too? For example, what is your plan for the following? If you get fired, if your business goes under, if you lost all your money, if your investments go down the drain, if you must move country or even city, if your partner leaves you. I'm not saying to put a negative spin on your life, but I'm encouraging you to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. The people who often sink instead of swim when they feel hopeless are those who naively claim, oh my God, I never saw this coming. So please do not be one of those people. Make a plan A, plan B, plan C, D, and maybe even a plan E. If your business, for example, fails, have multiple backup business plans there in case it does. And the same for your finances and your home, etc. Do this even for your personal life. Divorce is not uncommon these days, but what will happen if your spouse suddenly wants out and wants to leave you? So it's the same with your relationships too. Be prepared for whatever curveballs life throws at you, and believe me, they will. When my business went under a couple of years ago, I had no idea how to overcome the disappointment because I was naive, young, and foolish to think it would never fail and I was going to be okay. But it did, and it cost me almost 2 years of hard work and dedication to turn things around when I felt utterly hopeless. Do not make my mistake, and please start preparing yourself and making the necessary plans you need to prepare for the worst. There is nothing negative about this at all. This is, in fact, what will set you aside from all the losers and the people who just dwell in their misery and failures and live a hopeless life. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and that is how you have hope when you feel hopeless. Thanks for watching.